Despite what the title says, this video is for everyone, I promise. So I recently talked for an entrepreneurship class at my old college. The teacher invited me to come and share about my experience being an artist and being an entrepreneur. One of the things that she asked me to talk about were my top 3 pieces of advice from my experience of doing what I do. And the top 3 pieces of advice I shared, I decided I wanted to share them with you guys here as well. Now, they have grown into 4 pieces of advice. The advice I'm sharing with you in this video is very, very much on theme for just what's going on in my life and in my head this year. Things that I've learned recently or things that I've been able to really work on recently, and things that are very important to me that I feel like is worth sharing with you. And before we continue the video, I actually really need to do something about this. So give me 1 second.
We interrupt this video with a special presentation brought to you by Ana Luisa.
You, dear viewer, are invited to get ready with me as I spruce up my look for today, not only for the sake of not wearing pajamas for the rest of the video, but also in honor of Ana Luisa's 5th birthday, which is my favorite jewelry company and one I have worked with for nearly 3 years so far. I'm currently wearing my everyday earrings from them, the mini huggy hoops, and stay tuned to see some more of my favorite pieces after I do all the preliminary get ready with me stuff, like putting on makeup. I typically lean into a more natural look, partially because I like that look best, and partially because I really don't know my way around very well in the makeup category, but we do what we can. And for me, that typically means glossy eyelids, a little bit of eyebrow grooming, some highlighter, some mascara, some lip gloss, and we're good to go. Ah, yes, let's clean that mirror. Better late than never. Next, it's time to choose clothes so I know which jewelry pieces to pair with the outfit. Now, first of all, let's appreciate my very cute jewelry box. Isn't she lovely? I grabbed a couple of rings, which I'll reveal in a second, and I gotta say, I really never thought I'd be a ring girl, but ever since wearing Ana Luisa jewelry, I've been such a ring girl, and not the one from the horror movie. I love stacking them up in cool ways and wearing big statement rings as well, and I chose my favorite statement ring for this outfit. I tried to go for a little bit more of a dressed up look for this outfit, and as the cherry on top, I chose to wear these wonderfully dangly, sparkly earrings. Now let's see the magic happen. Ana Luisa has beautiful, quality jewelry that is always rigorously strength and humidity tested. Their dedication to a quality product also extends to how they interact with the environment, as they are climate neutral certified. I know I'm always talking about my own experience with the jewelry, but I've also given Ana Luisa jewelry as gifts to some of my friends and family members, and they absolutely love their pieces as well. To celebrate their birthday, they are running a site-wide Buy More, Save More sale until October 19. If you buy 2 items, you get 20% off, 3 items for 25% off, and finally 4 or more items for 30% off. So it's a really good deal and a way to get Christmas presents. And if the sale is over by the time you're watching this video, you can use my code thatoneartist20 to get 20% off. Just click the link in my description to go to their website. Okay, this is much better. I'm also gonna pretend that I didn't just leave and run errands for like the past 3 hours between getting ready for the day and actually sitting down and filming this. So as I said at the beginning, in this video, I'm going to be sharing my 4 pieces of advice for creatives, for small business owners, but also just for really everybody. First piece of advice, and I started out with this one because this is so important. Realize that you are creative. Everybody listening to this, I know that, when I typically say that to people, when artists typically say that to people, it might kind of invite the response of, oh, well, you're an artist. This is so easy for you to say. Like, of course, you're in a position where you can think that everybody's creative. I think that the society we live in tends to associate creatives and creativity with artists and musicians, writers, people that like create things physical, like even cooks, dancers, and they tend to label all of those people in this one chunk of the creative people. And then there's the rest of the people that aren't creative or don't have that attributed to them. But I don't think that's fair. Yes, there are people who use their creativity more obviously and maybe even more often in their careers, and that would be the artists and the writers and the musicians. But everybody is creative. Everybody has creativity in them, and I believe that creativity is core to who we are as humans. We all started out creative and imaginative when we were kids, and just because you entered adulthood doesn't mean you can't have that anymore or that you completely lost it. It's still there. As someone who believes in a creative God and believes that He created us in His likeness, I have to believe that we're creative because that's so core to who He is. As the one who created the world and who created humans, this is my beliefs. I'm not trying to preach at anybody, but this is a central point of why I really, really cherish this belief of everybody being creative, because He's creative and He created humans. I believe creativity is so core to being human. Creativity isn't just painting a picture or writing a song. Creativity exists in just having an idea, and that's something that all humans share. We all have new ideas. We all have to do creative problem solving. Creativity also exists in, I think, people's love of beauty and the desire to seek out beauty. We enjoy beauty. We like to be surrounded by it. We like to be surrounded by creativity. And I think that's our creative spirit within us, enjoying that creativity that we see outside of us. Creativity exists in wanting to make the world a better place. It really manifests itself in so many more ways than I think we tend to think it does. I just really want people to start being able to own that about themselves, even if they aren't artists, and even if they're the most like left brain logical person ever. Like, you are creative because you are human, and that's really what sets us apart from the other life on Earth. Like, we have the capacity to come up with new things, to do good, to bring newness and life into the world. And I'm not just talking about childbirth. So my advice here is, besides just believing that you're creative, also lean into that belief, especially if this is more of a new idea to you and something that you haven't really embraced before. Lean into that, explore that. What does that mean for your life? What does it mean for you to embrace creativity, for you to start entertaining the child that is still within you, your child self? What does that mean to bring more fun into your life and more adventure? If you started to feel like you've gotten stuck in a routine, maybe break up that monotony. Start taking those small steps to pursue those crazy ideas that you feel are crazy, that exist in the back of your mind, but secretly excite your inner child. I'm a big fan of the book The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and you may have heard me talk about her before, her book. I do want to do a video dedicated to that book sometime in the future, the near future maybe, but that's where I get a lot of my renewed excitement about creativity from, and my view on it that I currently have, my view that everybody's creative, and my view that creativity and spirituality are so connected. I highly recommend reading it, even if you're not an artist. It's called The Artist's Way, but it's not just for artists. It will give you some practical steps to take to lean into your creativity and to start incorporating that more into your life. One of the reasons I see creativity so core to who we are is because death and life are opposites, just as destruction and creativity are opposites. And a life and creativity, they're very similar. Like, creativity brings new things, it brings life. So because we're alive, I believe we are creative because we have the potential to create more life and to create more beauty. We have the capacity to create so much beauty and life around us in so many ways. So please don't sell yourself short and say you're not creative. Even if you feel like you've lost touch with it, and I think that can happen, and creativity definitely is something that we need to nurture, but it's still there. You haven't lost it. And even artists struggle with this too. Artists are not just innately creative all the time. It's something we have to nurture as well. So today is your day. If you feel like you've lost touch with your creativity, today is your day to reclaim it. And also don't be too hard on yourself. Just keep growing at your own pace and you'll get there. Genevieve, no. Advice number 2, a creative career or the start of a new business does not have to be all or nothing. Okay, so I have a lot to say about this one. I mean, maybe not as much as how much I had to say about the creativity one, but this is definitely relevant to my life right now. So I think if you're on social media, maybe it's just because of the circles I run in on social media, but I think all of us have heard this kind of often, and it's the story of an artist or a business owner or somebody that wants to follow their passion, quit their 9-to-5 to follow that passion. And I respect that a lot. I think that's wonderful. I think that's brave, and sometimes I think it's absolutely necessary. But I also want to say that just because we're surrounded by that story of success, by the many stories of success that we hear about that, it doesn't mean that choosing to, say, pursue a creative career while still having a quote-unquote day job or having a side job or a part-time job or whatever, it doesn't mean that that invalidates your creative career or your experience. You're not supposed to quit your 9-to-5 job to have a creative career, to run a business. If you want to, and if that is needed, then maybe you are supposed to. Maybe it's specific to you. Maybe you're supposed to. But it's not a one size fits all. The path of pursuing one's purpose, one's passion is not a one size fits all. There are so many different ways to get there and so many people with different needs. In my case, I didn't ever fully try to only make money from my art. I've always kind of had several jobs at the same time, even if it was just art and like dog sitting or something. But I have definitely had more of an experience with that than not. Last year, for example, I was working a part-time job. It was an hourly basis job, so it was basically just however much time I had, I would put a few hours in here and there, and I was dog sitting, and I think that's it. But the art side of my job was really active. I was trying to go to a lot of markets. I had success in some ways, and I had a lot of disappointments in other ways, and it was just, I really felt like I was really running myself ragged. It felt like so much work constantly for very little return, and there are people that may choose to just push through that. Again, I respect those people, but I just felt like my creativity and my time for creativity, because even though art was my main thing, I didn't have as much time to create art as I would like to, because the other parts of the art business, the selling, making prints and packaging and things like that, took so much time. And there was always the pressure of making art that would sell, and so I didn't have this like totally free space to make art in. I was always thinking of what would be best for the business, and I was having to go to markets and things like that. This year I'm working a job with a monthly paycheck, and it is, I will say, it is a very privileged and unique position because I work part-time, I work online, so I have my own schedule. I don't have to like go into a place every single day, and I don't have to work a ton of hours. So I do still have maybe more freedom than, say, a person with an actual 9-to-5 would have. So I recognize that. I definitely work more with this part-time job than I did last year with the hourly based job. I try to get like usually 3 to 4 hours per day, I'd say. And technically, by having to work and having a lot of responsibility in that job, technically, yeah, it takes time away from other time that I could be spending on art. But that actually doesn't matter. And I've been finding so much freedom having this job this year because the monthly paycheck is my financial stability. My art does not bear that burden as much as it did last year. And that's opened up so much creative freedom for me. I had my first outside of college show, like solo show this year. And I was able to take like a lot of time in the studio to just work on art and not worry about, oh, I'm making all this work for a show, but it may not even sell at the show. And then what do I do? Like, I just spent all this time on art that didn't sell and I need to make money. I didn't have to worry about that. I do have to be honest and say, if I did have a 9 to 5 where I was literally going into work at 9, coming home at 5, that might hurt my art career. Maybe it might not, because at the moment it's not like I'm making art every day. I usually paint on the weekends because that's when I do have the time to do it. What I just want to leave you with is do what works for you and your business, and going full-time into your small business or going full-time into your art is a noble thing to do. But if you feel that the need to make money from that is straining your creativity there and your enjoyment that maybe you once had, maybe it's time to rethink that a little bit. And it is not at all a failure to have to get another job, a part-time job or a full-time job or a side gig or whatever. You, by doing that, may be protecting your creative drive, your passion for whatever you're doing. There's a lot of people that enjoy their 9 to 5 jobs, and 9 to 5 jobs are good. And if you're not enjoying your 9 to 5 job, then that could be a problem. Even if you're working something that is not at all related to whatever your passion is, but it's still something that maybe you enjoy, maybe something that gives your brain a break from the creative work that you do, that can be a really good thing as well. And it could also give you experience and maybe even fuel your creativity. Your path does not have to look like other people's path to be successful. And success is defined by you as well. Doing art for money, I think, affects different artists in different ways. And some people may be able to keep that creativity alive, and some people may not. And so we're all different. We can all do different things. Advice number 3, be present and be flexible. And I'm gonna break this down. Be present. By this, I mean be available for opportunities that may come your way, and put yourself out there so that those opportunities can find you. I've been posting on YouTube since 2015. My YouTube hit a growth spurt around college time. It kept growing and growing and growing. That was great. Middle/end of college, it kind of stopped, and it's kind of been on a decline since then. Definitely don't get nearly the amount of views that I used to get. And I struggled with that for a little bit, but I'm actually okay with it now. I'm happy with the videos I post, and I'm happy with the people who engage with it. So I've been able to detach my emotions from the way that my social media is performing. I've maintained my video posting, sometimes more often, sometimes less often, but I've stayed somewhat fairly kind of sort of consistent throughout all these years on YouTube. My YouTube channel has led to some really cool opportunities. The job that I'm working this year, like I said, the online job, that actually was led to because of my YouTube channel. Long story short, I started working for another YouTube channel, creating content for them on a monthly basis. And this guy who was working for these other people found my content on that channel, which of course led him back to my channel, and he saw the work I was doing, and he felt like I would be a good fit for a project that they were working on. And so bada bing, bada boom, I started working for them, and it is currently such a fulfilling job. I really love what I do. I had no idea I would end up doing anything like that, but now I do, because I kept posting. I stayed showing up on this platform, and the opportunity presented itself. Now, I'm not saying that you should keep doing things that you don't like to do just because you think it might lead to something in the end. I think it's very important to be true to yourself and to do things because you enjoy them for the most part. Yeah, we all have to do things we don't want to do. But yeah, I'm not saying that you should push through posting on YouTube or keep trying to grow your Instagram following or whatever if you don't enjoy it just because you think you need to. But I do enjoy posting on YouTube. I do enjoy editing videos, and I get joy out of it even if it's not a main source of income for me. So yeah, like, show up, be present in the places that align with like your interests and your passions. Do you want to be a part of the art community in the city you live in? Go show up at gallery openings and artist talks and other art events in the area. Put yourself in those environments. To a certain extent, I do believe in manifestation. I do believe that when you do something, when you put yourself out there in a certain way, the world will respond to you, the universe will respond to you. By that I mean, people who see your work may respond to you in a positive way, may present you another opportunity, or because you're putting stuff out there, you may be more observant of the opportunities that are coming your way, and you won't miss them because you're already out there looking for them. The other side of this is to be flexible. It relates to being present because when those opportunities come, you want to be able to accept them and to follow the path that is presenting. I know some people really, really like to plan out their futures, like every step of the way, but don't be so rigid in your planning that you're not leaving room for being able to follow new opportunities that you didn't see coming. Okay, last but not least, 4. And this one is also very important. Not that any of these weren't important, but this is very, very important. So we started on a strong note, and we're going to end on a strong note. My last piece of advice is to embrace rest. Think about that for a second. I'm not just talking about physical rest. I'm talking about mental rest. I'm talking about both. All kinds of rest. Physical, mental, whatever other kinds of rest there are. But I think mental rest is what so many of us need so badly. Again, I am not here to preach at you, but I am going to draw some more from my belief system because that's actually really, really helped me a lot with this idea of rest. So I believe in the idea of the Sabbath being a full day of rest every 7th day of the week. I think most people would be familiar with it coming from Jewish tradition. I grew up as a Seventh-day Adventist, which is a Christian denomination. I have been doing a lot of thinking and listening to podcasts and reading books about the Sabbath recently this year, within the past few months, and I have really, really developed a new love for it. And I'm also hearing a lot more about people who aren't religious keeping Sabbaths in their lives, and people may choose different days of the week that works for them. It's this idea of resting fully one day out of every week. What I've learned, and this is from a podcast that I listened to, so I didn't back this up with my own research, but what I've learned from that podcast is that human beings work really well on a 7-day cycle. That's kind of how our bodies are made to function. And at the end of those 7 days, having a complete rest day to then be able to do that cycle the next week and the next week and the next week. How I practice that, how I'm learning to practice that is, resting from work, of course, that's one big thing, but then also resting my mind. So I've started trying not to get on social media on that day. Social media is kind of a trigger for a lot of just mental, running around in circles and feeling a little bit frantic maybe. And so by turning that off and focusing on my present real life, the here and now, that really helps me a lot, and it's a really good part of my weekly reset. I also like to take the day to do things that I enjoy. This kind of ties back into the first piece of advice of embracing creativity, of pursuing creativity in your life, reclaiming creativity in your life. I painted last Saturday because I didn't really have time at all in the week to make any art, and I really, really needed to make art. So I was able to use that day, since I wasn't working, to make art. I like to nap on Saturday sometimes. I'm really exhausted from the week and I just need a nap, and I have permission to do that because I'm taking the day off. I like to go enjoy nature and be still and be quiet on Saturdays. I like to read on Saturdays. It's really, really such a nice day, and I highly recommend trying to start incorporating a day of rest into your week, and then also just kind of incorporate that throughout your week as well. I think it's important to have your mornings and to have your evenings. At least I like to do that. I like to journal in the morning, have tea or something, and then get to work for the rest of my day. And then in the evenings, likewise, as I'm settling down for the day, maybe read, stretch, have some me time, have some rest, and then get some good physical rest when I sleep. We need to stop hustling so much. I respect the work ethic of so many people, but also we're not machines, and we don't come into each day with the same amount of energy, and sometimes we need to be flexible and be good to our bodies and not make them work like a machine every single day. We were built for rest. We were built for work too. We need to work. Work is good, but rest is the flip side of that, and an equally important part of living a healthy, balanced life. And you know, if you are creating something as an artist, as a business owner, as a teacher who needs to come up with lesson plans, as a doctor even, you need those spaces where your mind can refill itself so that the inspiration isn't just completely dry. The energy isn't just completely drained. Hopefully this provided some good insight for you, and maybe some good motivation and a new perspective perhaps as you go about the rest of your day, as you go about your upcoming weeks. I really, really hope that you're able to embrace your creativity, to realize that it's not all or nothing when it comes to pursuing your passion, to put yourself out there, be present, and also keep your plans flexible so that you're able to accept those opportunities when they come. And last but not least, I hope that you're able to really, really incorporate rest into your life. I hope that you can stop and smell the roses along the way on your journey. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Happy birthday once again to Ana Luisa, and thank you so much again for sponsoring this video. Go click the link in my description to get to their website. Don't forget that they're running a really big site-wide sale, and also check out my code, which will get you 20% off. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will be back with a new one sometime soon. Bye!